so weak. I need more plasma.
What's up, all you radical dudes and dudettes? ToyShiz here, and I'm back yet again to give you guys another Spider-Man the Animated Series episode of Retro-Shiz. Thank you to everyone always watching my Retro-Shiz Spidey episodes. I know it's been a while, but we're heading all the way back to 1996 to check out the vampiric wave known as Vampire Wars. This is kind of sort of based on the Neogenic Nightmare and then also subsequently episodes from Partners in Danger. A lot of these characters didn't really appear on the show. A lot of these characters are definitely off model, but dang, are they a lot of fun. A lot of souped up armor, a lot of vampire fighting mechanics, and hey, you know what? Why not, right? After a while you run out of ideas, just put some vampire armor on him. Blade, we'll get into him in just a second if you remember him from the animated series, and I'm happy to say that I finally completed it with this Air Attack Spider-Man. I didn't really go for these more like Arctic Blast Spideys, things like that, but to really show off the wave, you gotta do it right, and you gotta have all the figures. So I love that he came in the packaging. Really nice to see that little tidbit, little nod to the animated series of a little gargoyle that Spider-Man used to talk to in the animated series. I like to think that that's old Bruce right there. Really nice packaging on this, very vampiric, very vampire-ish. Get to see the example of how the weapons work. A little bio. They always gave you bios for these more obscure, crazy action figures. Cross-sells, you get to see every single figure in this particular wave, including the X-Men Ninja Force. Never picked up any of those myself, but nowadays, yeah, I really wish I would have. 1996 Marvel characters, proof of purchase, and of course, the good old Toybiz customer service number. Where would we be without you? And I love that Spider-Bat artwork. Very, very cool. Love to see the Air Attack artwork as well. This is going to be fun. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of blood. Sure, why not? This is the 1996 Toybiz Spider-Man the Animated Series, Morbius's Vampire Wars. We're going to start it off with this anti-vampire Spider-Man. Again, one of those figures I needed for the collection to really complete this. Do this little video up nicely. Really interesting looking Spider-Man. Interesting armor, lots of sculpts. Like the Spider-Bat sort of idea. It's very creative, and I like that it works. It works better than, you would probably think on paper, but it comes with a lot of different armor pieces. It all kind of connects. Love the sort of Agent Venom looking shoulder pads to this guy. On the back, really nice reds, really nice paint for the most part. Just kind of sort of, it's got knocked around over the years, of course, but all the armor pieces eventually will connect. You get like a mask for Spider-Man. On the backside, you can see lots of nice sculpting, lots of nice detail. It looks like, Blade made this, or Whistler, something like that. And of course, you got his big old shoulder cannon. Affix it right there, put it right on his back, and baby, you get your anti-vampire Spider-Man. He looks cool. I mean, this is one of those like bat poop, pardon the pun, kind of figures, but it works, and it worked for back in the day, 1996. Of course, you'd have this big, giant supercomputer thing on your back, and it really works with the armor, the reds and the blacks. You'll see a lot of red and black carried out through a lot of these figures in this way. Very stylized. It's very cool to see, but let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation. And the figure's basic little function right here is you push down on this part, kind of hold it right there with that finger, and it opens up to reveal a sunlight blaster. Check that out. That's pretty cool. And if you really wanted to, this is actually removable as well, although I don't know why you'd want to take that out. The whole point is a giant sunlight blaster. You can also move the mask up just like that. Reveal Spidey. It's a very cool figure. And of course, the articulation is minimal, but it is there, and it's a lot of fun for this toy. Now, the second figure in the wave is, of course, Morbius Unbound, and if you're not familiar, this is the second neogenic mutation for, of course, Dr. Michael Morbius. He was just Morbius, and then he got hit with a neogenic recombinator ray, and of course, I'll just let this clip speak for itself. And exactly on model, of course, with all the red veins and the giant bat ears, they did what they could for back in the day. But yeah, while off model, this is still a very cool figure, and for the most part, they got the character right. He even has a little hole on the side of his arm right there. You can put the little accessory, little bat creature monster. that he comes with. Secures nicely. Overall, nice paint. I mean, this is to pump it up, really make it stand out. It's a huge vampire creature monster, and I love that they put the suction cups on his hand. Of course, if you knew about, Spider-Man the Animated Series and censors, Morbius couldn't drink blood. He could only suck plasma with his suction cup hands, which is so much more disturbing than drinking actual blood. Even as a kid watching this show, I'm like, wait, what is happening? How does he get his plasma? So he comes with this little monster minion vampire kind of guy. This character also came with a 10-inch vampire venom, which I have looked at in the past before. Really nice sculpt on him, really nice paint. Little accessory, you wouldn't expect this much, but they really detailed him out. Has a little peg on his tail, which adds in, is fixing him to Morbius Unbound's arm. I don't know why they always call them Unbound. You know what I mean? Just it's a terrible name. Anyways, got lots of blood going, little veins, everything else. Really nails the vampire look, but let's go ahead and look at his special little feature. Morbius did have that basic articulation. His arms would move, nothing at the head, nothing at the ears, legs up and down, and then of course his tail would maneuver back and forth, but simply pushing on this giant lever on the back of his back. I'll get all up close for you. You push it, and all the blood starts pumping through his veins. And while that is a cool effect, and yeah, it was a cool toy to have when you were a kid, it's just totally off model, and it was left me scratching my head even when I was younger and collected this guy. What's up next is Eric Brooks, or how you better know him, Blade the Vampire Hunter. Of course, Blade, very much well known thanks to Wesley Snipes, but back in the day, and in looking at these character designs, it was very exciting to see Blade show up in animation. Always loved his beam sword. Of course, they downplayed him just a bit, much like the Punisher. And I don't know what's up with those green eyes. If you're looking at me or the water cooler, something like that. He came with a torn red shirt. Again, very off model. But it was exciting to add Blade the Vampire Hunter to your collection. Tons of accessories on this guy. Really nice sculpt for the most part. Kind of... He's got some weird proportions, just saying. But all black, all red, like I said, very much a carryover in this particular wave. Nice to see the art style kind of just flourishing with the whole vampire nature of this wave. But again, just an odd figure, odd sculpt to him in some areas. He came with 3 of these vampire hunting axes sort of deals. They're actually missiles for his backpack launcher, which I'll show you in just a second. He came with this really cool, it slumps over his shoulders. It's got like a missile launcher, Gatling gun, an eyepiece. It really just fits over the top half of Blade, but it is cool, and it comes with a little handle, it's an odd accessory, we'll just say. But that's what we did back in the day with 1996 and Toybiz. The odder, the better. And this little backpack thing has a sliding piece to it. It simply just wraps around his waist. Kind of gives him like a wings kind of look. But it does have weapon storage in as fixing all those axes. You get the middle one for the missile, and you got 2 missile holding pegs on either side. And it just looked cool. He looks like a vampire hunter, very off design, but a good play feature nonetheless. And he just really emphasizes the whole, you're a vampire, I'm gonna totally kill you. That's just what I do. But again, simply just put that whole big mechanism over his shoulders, put his hand up, and you've got one missile shooting, vampire targeting Blade the Vampire Hunter. Very, very cool to see. Very much in the vein of Toybiz, just from all angles. It's a very well-built figure. He's sturdy. He's not going anywhere. The missile works great, but let's look at everything that this figure entails. And of course, along with all these other figures in this wave, minimal articulation, the standard Toybiz. Legs move, hands move up and down, arms, all that kind of stuff. Not too crazy, but of course, on the back side is where you would just kind of push this in, push this little button right here, and it would fire. And then, of course, you'd have 3 different missiles to shoot, and it is pretty cool. So have a little bit of a weapon storage. It's an overall good look for the figure. Totally off model, but an interesting Blade figure. There's another Spider-Man figure that was missing from my Vampire Wars line. This is the Air Attack Spider-Man, a very cool red and black costume to him, at least on the front. I'll show you the back in just a second. But he comes with a bunch of accessories. It's more of a armored suit piece with wings. Really nice black and red costume. Nice line work. Nice big black spider symbol on his back, we'll just say. But it kind of, in this area, it gets kind of thongish, right? It just kind of disappears. Just made me laugh after all these years, finally opening this guy. But again, the armor is cool. It's interesting. It almost has like a scuba gear / spacesuit kind of deal. A backpack with a peg, missile launcher, the wings spring up. Really nice missile launching effect to it. And it's kind of hidden, which is kind of interesting. It's basically just two pieces. You kind of clamshell them together, and you get a really cool air attack Spider-Man. This guy, again, was not on the animated TV show, but again, much in that vein of Toybiz. It's a very much play feature Spider-Man. Keeps the kids entertained. Would have probably kept me entertained. And I do like the wings to this guy. Very simple design. One button does all, but just an elegant looking vampire hunting Spider-Man. But let's go ahead and look at the articulation and what the figure actually does. Now, with this air attack Spidey, he basically has like a clamshell. It's just a big bulky suit of armor that he's wearing. You kind of slip this little peg right here. Again, keeping with that thong motif that this guy has, it just kind of keeps it nice and secure while also securing up here. But you would simply just push the wings down, and you're going to want to hold them just like that and push down also onto the missile. Sometimes when you push it down, it will pop the wings up, but you would simply just hold it just like this, push the lever on the back, and the wings would spring up and shoot out the missile. Very, very cool Spider-Man figure, very different, just so much going on. But again, very fitting of a Vampire Wars spider armor sort of. Now we come to my favorite figure for this wave. And this, of course, was a Spider-Man figure that I got even after, long after the Spider-Man wave actually came out. This is the Vampire Spider-Man, and it's exactly what you think. Spider-Man, he was tangling with that neogenic recombinator, that dang-all neogenic recombinator, and he turned himself into a vampire, as one does. But the sculpt on this guy is gorgeous. It's a monstrous Spider-Man. It's so different. He's got these big arms. The cape, which I'll show off in just a second, is a bit cumbersome. It's meant to kind of evoke, you put the little bat guy on the top, kind of makes it look like maybe he has wings. The costume goes, it's all the way up. It's painted. Everything looks good. It's a bit of a hodgepodge of an original Spider-Man with some new parts to it. The great arms are like this pink shading, gray shading. It's so much fun. I recommend this guy. Just the face alone, his tongue out, his painted toenails, his fingernails, they really went to town. It's a very interesting Spider-Man. His accessory was a bat spider missile kind of launcher. And the bat, that's why this works. The bat and the spider, you wouldn't really think it would work. It would kind of hokey, but it's creepy and it's really a lot of fun. Especially, if you're a kid back in the day collecting these, that would have been great. I don't know what my problem was. I just didn't have any interest because he wasn't on the show. But he comes with this wrist gauntlet sort of deal. You simply just push the bat into there. Unfortunately, there's no button. It's more of a pullback mechanism, kind of a DIY. It's not my favorite, but it does look good. It's fixed to his wrist. It kind of gives him a little bit more bulk, a little bit more creepy edge. He's got a bat on his back. He's got a bat spider on his wrist. This guy means business. Very, very cool. Just an awesome design. Great silhouette. But let's go ahead and look at exactly what he does. Minimal articulation, 9 points. This cape, it is a little cumbersome. You can take the cape off if you want. A bit of a pain. But clip his little spring-loaded bat spider thing. There's no lever. There's no button to shoot. So you'd basically just pull it back in the spring and it would shoot off. Not the best, it's not ideal. Would have totally loved to see some joints here at the arms, big wings, something like that. But dang, I do love this design and I think it's a fantastic, really cool, otherworldly Spider-Man for your collection. So that's going to wrap it up for my Retro-Shiz look back at the 1996 Spider-Man the Animated Series Vampire Wars set of figures. Did you guys have these back in the day? Do you need to get them now? Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything Vampire Wars. And I will have more Spider-Man the Animated Series vids coming up very shortly. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, never ever say blood. It's only plasma. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.